The story of Euresgrad spread throughout the Gower townships, and the bells of victory were sounded. Euresgrad became a rallying cry for the townships. The young warrior who led his clansmen to victory was heralded as the savior of Gower. The elders of Euresgrad bestowed upon him the name Connacht, meaning deliverance. In the years that followed, other battles were fought and won against the Mercridia. The name of Connacht the Devil Slayer spread throughout the lands, bringing hope with it. With this dream, the isolated clans of Gower began to unite for the common defense, and a unified nation of Gower was born. The clansmen, led by Connacht, decided to do the unthinkable. More than defending their villages from the Mercridian horde, they would bring the battle to the Mercridia themselves. Using daytime assaults, the men of Gower began a counterattack that did eventually push the nightmarish devils back into the dire marsh from whence they came. All of Gower rejoiced at their army's victories, but the Mercridian threat was far from over. The murky lands of the dire marsh were dangerous enough to travel through, let alone wage battle in. The perpetual gloom of that cursed swamp meant that the regularly nocturnal devils were constantly active. The Mercridia made their warren-like nests from the very rock and muck of that vile swamp. If left unmolested, they would repopulate their losses with terrible speed. While marching along the outskirts of the marsh, a scout returned bearing news. He had laid eyes on a large cave, piled high with skulls and adorned with pendants of rotting skin. The army had found their first Mercridian nest. With great trepidation, a small force was dispatched to exterminate the devils from their lair. It would be the first time that the eyes of a living man would look upon the horror of a Mercridian lair.
Hello everybody, what's up? This is Joy Universe and welcome to Myth 3 Walkthrough Part 3, played on the legendary difficulty without casualty. Today we begin Chapter 2, The Nest. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay, I'll just quickly pause here 1 second. For some people, Myth 3, actually the Chapter 2 of Myth 3 is one of the hardest level in the entire Myth theory. It's primarily due to the fact that we don't have a lot of units to control. We have 4 berserkers, 4 Euresgrad, our main hero Connacht, and 2 fighting villagers, which are not a lot. And we have to destroy the nest, and all the Mercridian warriors, giants live inside of it, which can be very tough. I did spend quite some time in order to figure out the right strategies, and I did it. So I just quickly want to show you guys how to win this level without casualties. The first step is to dodge all the patrols outside of the lair. So in the swamp, we have to dodge all of the patrols and the patrol inside of the lair as well. So we don't want to go down this path because for sure we're gonna encounter some enemies. Instead, I suggest to take this road, and we won't go to the left hand side. Okay, and make sure do not let the patrols see you. And it's very easy to do because they do spend a lot of time traveling back and forth. So use the time gap to move your units across the swamp. I'm just gonna quickly speed up to save some time. Okay, so after we move to this side of the map, we are actually near the entrance of the lair. There are another group of Mercridian guarding the entrance. If we choose to go down the original path, for sure we have to fight those Mercridians. That's why I decided to bring all my units in this area of the map. Why? Because we can then move alongside of the mountain, and Mercridian troops, they have a very poor sight, so they will not be able to spot us. So what I did here is that I separated my troops. I let my Euresgrad move first, like I said, alongside of the wall to avoid being spotted by the Macreadian troops. And be careful, inside there's another patrol group, and you don't want to be seen by them as well. So just wait for them to get away.
I found the lair!
And you want to move your unit to this side of the road. So first I moved my Euresgrad, and the second step I decided to move my fighting villagers. So I'm just gonna speed up a little real quick. So basically here is just my my troops are moving slowly towards the lair. Nothing else to say really. So after you gather all your troops inside of the lair, what you want to do next is to go alongside of the pass and quickly you will encounter the nest. Let me just quickly pause over here again. So what most people do in this case is that they want to engage the Macreadian troops in this way, but the difficult part of this strategy is that there are 13 Macreadian warriors which are not shown on the map yet, but there are 13 Macreadian warriors inside of the nest plus 2 Macreadian giants. So if we want to engage those troops just in the traditional way, and you know they're gonna spot us if we enter this area, and every single Macreadian will be alerted, and all of the 13 Macreadian warrior plus 2 giants will come and attack us. It is very unlikely you win this battle, and if you do, you will suffer great casualties. And since our objective is to beat the game without casualties, we cannot do this. So what I did is instead I found there's another path we can use in order to attack those Macreadian, and there's a back door over there. So in order to do that, we need to move our troops in another direction, which is this way. Well, in this path there is another patrol group, so just make sure you dodge that, and it's not very hard to do either. We're just gonna speed up the game. Okay, those are the patrol groups, and once you are in this area of the map, you want to wait here because the patrol group is gonna come back, and there's another patrol group in the other part of the map as well. So just make sure you use a time gap to move your units to avoid being spotted. After this patrol groups move back to the near entrance of the nest, you want to gather your troops and hide inside of this small valley. Yeah, just make sure you use every single space that the map gives you to avoid being spotted by the patrol. So as you can see, the patrol will not see us when we hide inside of this part. Okay, so here is the back door of the nest. What I did here is I gather my units and I let them hiding behind this wall so that when the patrol groups come back, they don't see us. And we want to fight the Macreadians in the nest after the patrol groups leaves, because we don't want to fight them both at the same time. That would be too silly. As you can see, this gigantic thing that is standing on the pile of skulls here is a Macreadian giant. He is much stronger, tougher than the average Macreadian warrior, and he also has a special ability. When he encounters enemy forces, what he does is he's gonna throw explosive charges towards us, and those explosive charges, if hit right in the face, can do huge amount of damage. So that's in order to not suffer too much damage, it's very important to dodge those explosives. Here I use my hero Connacht to lure the Euresgrad giant. After he spots us, what he does is gonna throw the explosive charges, and as soon as you see the charge leaves his hand, you want to move sideways to dodge the damage. And here just gonna pause here real quick again. Why I decided to attack those Euresgrad from this side of the map or using the back door, because this way we can lure only the Euresgrad giant first, and the rest of the Euresgrad forces, they will not be alerted. On the other hand, if we choose to fight from the main entrance, every single Euresgrad will be alerted. So this way we separate their forces. After the Euresgrad threw his charges, you want to lure him back toward our main troops. After you kill the first Euresgrad giant, the second Euresgrad giant will come, and just make sure you dodge the explosive and take him out.
Move your ass!
So just like that, we took out the two Euresgrad giants. We suffer a little bit of damage, but it's unavoidable. And overall, we're doing pretty good so far. Now the next step. There are still 13 Euresgrad warriors left in the nest, and if we want to engage them directly, we will also suffer casualty for sure. And since our main objective is to not suffer casualties, what I came up is a very good strategy. So I'm just gonna speed up a little bit. So what I did here, as you can see, I moved my troops, my Euresgrad, and fighting villagers outside of the layer. Yeah, I moved them outside of the layer. Why did I do that? I'm just gonna quickly explain it. Here the AI is set up in a specific way. As soon as they are alerted, the Euresgrad warriors will attack our forces, and they're gonna attack every single unit of our forces. If I have all my troops, the berserkers and the Euresgrad all together, the 13 Euresgrad warriors they are all gonna come towards us. On the other hand, if I separate my forces, as you can see, if I put my part of my troops outside of the layer and part of my troops on this area, once the Euresgrad warriors are alerted, just gonna quickly show you. Here I waited a little bit. So as you can see, so instead of coming all towards us, the Euresgrad forces, they are also separated. So those Euresgrad, they are gonna get my Euresgrad, and the others will come towards the berserkers. This way we separated all of their forces, and makes much easier for our melee unit to fight the Euresgrad. And after we kill those Euresgrad, the group that is supposedly get my Euresgrad, they're gonna separate themselves again because the original Mercurian troops sent to kill us here are all dead. And here, those are all the 13 Mercurian troops left. So here they are hesitating. They don't know whether they should attack my Euresgrad or attack my Berserkers. That's why they are pacing around. And just like that, we took them out one by one using this strategy. And that is how you win this chapter without casualties. So let's look at the post-game stats.
The Mercurian nest was put to the torch. A triumphant cry bellowed from the Gower army as they marched deeper into the murky swamps, searching for other nests to raise.